Joining us now from the SEC Network, former Auburn head coach Gene Chizik. Coach, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, guys. How are y'all doing today?
Well, we're hanging in there, and hope that you're staying safe as well. Coach, I got to ask, if you were coaching a team in this environment right now and trying to conduct workouts and kind of trying to conduct a preseason, what would your approach be given the challenges that coaches are experiencing right now?
Well, I think the first thing, guys, is transparency to your team. As you can see right now, this day and age, you can see that the players are very empowered, and they will call you out if they don't feel like what you're doing is protocol-wise is what's expected and what's right. So the main thing is obviously there's protocols in places at every school. And that's really the most important thing right now, making sure that these players understand that we're going to do everything we can in our power to keep them safe, to, train to a standard, to train to a high level. But their number one, or our number one interest as coaches, is player safety. And I think transparency and communication, constant communication with these guys, with their parents, I think that's number one. Look, they're all going to go out there and run. They're all going to go out there and do their workouts. They're all going to do their social distancing. All of the strength coaches, all of the medical people at every school are making sure that while they're in the building, that's going to be done right. But let's be honest, guys, the biggest downfall that you can see, get on Twitter any day you want, and you're going to see players potentially calling out schools, coaches, for potentially not doing things right. So you got to be transparent. You got to communicate with your guys, and they have to know without a doubt that your number one priority is their safety, and they'll do anything for you.
Chiz, I don't know how these coaches are keeping the mindset together. I don't know how they're keeping their players focused and engaged, because it just seems like everything is changing. Every single day when you open up the news, something is different. And these coaches, I don't envy them trying to make sure their guys stay engaged mentally, even more than physically.
Yeah, Jacob, I think that's really been lost in the translation of all this. My son's a college football player. I literally got a text 2 days ago from a great friend of mine who is the coordinator at a top 10 school. And one of the questions and one of the things he said to me, he texted me and he said, "Are we going to play or not?" This is several days ago. He says, "Are we going to play or not? It's really tough on our players right now, going through this grind, trying to maintain the protocols that are expected, yet not knowing whether we're even going to play a game." And I think that that's terrible. I think that's horrible for coaches. I think it's horrible for the players. It's really tough. And I think that, everybody's so interested in, what are we doing for protocols and what is this league going to do and what is that league going to do? Let's be mindful of the players. This is a beatdown for guys who don't know exactly what is happening. And look, the quicker we can get answers, which we have obviously got some lately, the better it is going to be for the players.
Coach, what about for the players that have an answer at this point, but that answer is no? For those players that are going to be drafted, or those players that are looking at the possibility of spring football, and whether that's a feasible option in your mind?
Yeah, guys, I'm heartbroken for the guys in the Big Ten and the Pac-12. I really am. I think it's an enigma to me. Look, I don't have all the answers, and I'm not sitting in all of the meetings, and I know I'm not privileged to those. So everybody on the outside can have an opinion. What I don't get is this, and this is what bothers me, Jacob, to the point of asking about the players and the mental health of the players and where the players are in this. So put yourself in these shoes, okay? You come in 6 weeks ago, and they give you a protocol, and you follow that protocol. You do exactly what they ask you to do, whether it's the social distancing part, what you do when you leave the building, all the things that you're supposed to do. And let's take Michigan as the example. You do everything right. They've had 0 positive tests in the last 353, as Jim Harbaugh stated, right? So you know what, Coach, we did everything you asked us to do. And then 5 days after they come out with a conference schedule or with a season schedule, without any sort of catastrophic event happening that changes the direction, that changes the information, It changes the medical experts' minds because they found something new. You go from DEFCON 3 or 4 to DEFCON 1 and shut it down. Now, look, you just asked me to do all these things, and we've done it, and we've proven based on what you told me would work, we've proven that this is doable, and without any change, you go from DEFCON 3 or 4 to DEFCON 1, and you drop the bomb. I'm sick for the players, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Just, you know this as well as anybody, right? We're creatures of habit, right? We start our schedule in January. We work until spring football. Then we get to spring football, and then we work till summer workouts. We get to summer workouts, we're working for training camp to get in shape for that training camp. And then training camp, it's all about the little things. And then we stay on schedule. And you're exactly right. So these players have had their spring football canceled. They had to go back home and have virtual learning. And then they come back on campus and they work their butts off to get ready for what they think to be a training camp. And then they kind of start training camp. And then they're told, wait a minute, you can't do that. We got to take the ball away. You got to go back a step. You don't take 2 steps forward. You're actually going 3 steps back. And then all of a sudden you get a schedule and you get excited because you think, okay, I've got a schedule. We're going to play. And then when that gets canceled, exactly right. I am absolutely heartbroken for these players because you and I both know what it takes to get ready for a single season. And it takes 7-8 months to get ready for 12 games. And then now you've got to stay engaged for 5 more months. So you're going to have workouts. You're going to have drills out there on the field, 20-hour-a-week rules. And I've got to stay engaged for 5 months before a spring football season. I mean, the mental aspect of this is getting lost. I completely agree with you, Coach.
Yeah, the spring football thing to me, guys, and I know you can read it on whatever social media platform you want to go to, but now there's people in the Big Ten saying, hey, this really looks like it's doable and it'll work, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just going to be frank with you. I'm absolutely against the spring season, period. I don't like it. You talk about the mental health of players, Jacob. Let me tell you something. Playing 2 seasons in 1 year, I don't care if you cut down the number of games. I don't care if you have this great, schedule in mind. The bottom line is, here's what I know about players. Football is a grind. The mental part of the grind is as bad or as difficult or as hard as the physical part. That's the meeting. That's the, am I going to start? How much am I going to play? That's the, all the things mentally that you have to prepare yourself for. The grind of the 6:30 a.m. workouts during the season, 2 or 3 of them a week. All the things that happen is you're going to turn around and ask players to do this twice in a calendar year makes zero sense. Because here's what I know. In a full 12-game season, a player is going to play, if you're a starter, on offense or defense, anywhere between 850 to 1,000 plays, okay? So that's a lot of plays. That's talking about game play. That's not even talking about practice reps. So the spring season, to me, although people now are fighting and clawing and scratching to, try to find a way to, get back out there, it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't want to hear anything about a spring schedule. You do everything you can to play this game in the fall, and if you can't, then so be it. But you give these student athletes every opportunity to keep them safe, but yet still be in concert with having a season. And this spring ball, and let's be honest, who knows in January if anything will be any different than it is now. So I'm not a fan of it.
Coach, I'm curious how you would be approaching recruiting right now. If the 2 questions that you were to get most often were, number 1, is your school taking safety serious enough because you're playing football while other people aren't? Or the inverse of that, which is you're not taking football serious enough because you're not playing while other conferences are playing, and trying to balance those 2 things. How would you approach recruiting right now?
Well, for the parents that would question and the young man that would question, why are we playing? I would simply point out to hard, cold facts. And the stats are, and it's real simple, guys, the stats don't support that right now that there ought to be an all-out abandonment of the sport with this age group. You can go on the website for the CDC. You can look at exactly what age groups are being affected. The 18 to 22-year-old is just really not factually strong in terms of pointing out that this is an age group that is at risk. The second thing I would say is that I think football can be conducted safely. I think it can be conducted in concert with the best interest of the players, because we have committees that are put together that have created protocols, and we're going to follow these protocols to a T, because the number one priority is player safety. That's the bottom line. And if your son gets it, we have really, really good return to play protocol in place as well. And this school, my school, every school is committed to gathering continuous information as to whether we're moving forward or not. And if in the event it comes that something comes out and it's time to put it to a screeching halt, put a pause on it, we're going to do that if we think that the player safety is at risk. That's the bottom line. And then for the ones that say, hey, look, you guys aren't playing football, it's not important to you, you're going to have to defend your honor, because obviously, and look, there's some schools that are not on board with that in the Big Ten. They're just not on board with the decision. I don't know about the Pac-12, but the Big Ten guys, there's some people that just aren't on board with that. So, but you have some defending of your honor to do, because I promise you this, if I'm a coach and I'm recruiting against schools who canceled football and we ended up playing it, that would absolutely be something that would be in the recruiting repertoire.
I don't think there's any question there. And I love that you made that point right there at the end, because it's going to be a gigantic recruiting tool, because this hasn't been, like we mentioned, this hasn't been the best year for recruiting. Coach O would love to be able to throw recruits through that trophy case and show them the Heisman Trophy and the National Championship Trophy. They haven't been able to do that. But I really, truly just feel bad for the first-year coaches. We've got 4 new ones in our conference. They haven't been able to create those relationships. They haven't even been able to have guys on their campus right for camps. But if the SEC plays and those other schools don't, I think you're exactly right. You're leaps and bounds above where they could be.
Yeah, you're right. And let me tell you, back to your comment about the 4 coaches. I've talked to several people on these staffs, and it's tough, man. I mean, you're sitting out there trying to coach these guys. You haven't had a spring ball with them. All your meetings right now have basically been through Zoom. Technology's provided that. This is a tall order for these guys, and it's going to be tough. But I will tell you this. I am very proud of Greg Sankey. I'm very proud of the SEC digging their cleats in and saying, look, you know what? We are listening to our student athletes. Look, we're not minimizing the risk that is out there, but we're listening to our student athletes. We're going to do everything in our power to give them an opportunity to play the game they love, Jacob, right?
Yep.
This, in their mind, this is the most important thing in their lives as we speak. And they want to be heard. And let's be honest, guys. If you had players 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, in droves coming out and saying, we don't want to play, how quick would they have aborted the season? But now you have players that are coming out in droves saying, we do want to play, but we're not going to listen to them. So which one are you going to do? Are you listening to them, or are you not listening to them? And look, but hey, I thought Bob Bowlesby made a great statement yesterday. One of the best things I thought he says, no medical experts that they consulted with thought it was poorly advised to go ahead and play given the protocols that were in place. Doesn't that say it all? I mean, that says it all to me. So they listen to their student athletes. They're listening to the medical experts. They don't know that this thing's going to be 100% go, but they're doing everything in their power to give these guys a chance to play the sport they love. That's the bottom line.
I tell you what, Chiz, you've got me fired up. You need to give pregame speeches more. I forgot how good you were at this deal.
Well, I feel passionate about it, guys. I really do. I love this game. I've been associated with it for 50 years, and the players love it, and the coaches love it, and the fans love it, and I don't want to go and put myself or anybody in harm's way. Look, my son plays, okay? But I will tell you this. It's a shame if you're not giving somebody, these young men, every exhaust every single opportunity, and then tell me no.
Yep.
And then we can go ahead and have a discussion.
Chiz, good luck putting up with Chris Doering during football season, by the way. Best of luck to you putting up with CD.
Yeah, that's a tall order right there, guys. But we're looking forward to it, man. I'm hoping and praying that this thing goes through, and we can have another great college football season in 2020.
Thank you, Coach. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, guys.